Oh my jeez. Okay. Okay. God, Misha, leave me alone. What a way to start, huh? What a way to start an episode. Isn't just delightful. What did she hear? I jump at the sudden appearance of Misha, who I had not heard approaching despite the completely empty hallway. Somehow she had gotten into jumping distance of me without making a sound. Creepy. It briefly reminds me of Kenji's nutty theory about global feminist conspiracy, but I push that thought aside. And as I push Misha aside, I find that. Great. Shizune, standing slightly behind Misha, looks aloof, as she couldn't have heard the remark that drew Misha's attention, but Misha is visibly excited. Oh wait, more importantly, who's in there? There's no club meetings today. Oh, I should probably be saving this. That one. Yes, no, creepy. Sure. Whatever. There's no club meeting today. She tries to curiously peek past me, even though the door prevents her from seeing. Anyway, Misha, you are one dumb son of a bitch. What are you doing here? You took so long that we had to come check what's wrong. That's no good, Hichan. She wags her finger at me scoldingly. I found plywood, but everything else is still missing because you're tardy. Oh, sorry. I got the things here. I was just gonna bring them. I think you were up to some mischief, Hichan. Who was in there with you? I wonder. Misha signs something quickly to Shizune, pointing at her own ear a couple of times. Shizune immediately pushes away past me and opens the door into the classroom I just left. I can only imagine the shock she's experiencing. With Shizune's diligence and attitude, the insolence of daring to deface school property by sleeping on top of it must be too much to bear. And indeed, she stares at Lin, frozen in place, apart from the slight but noticeable trembling of her shoulders from suppressed rage, I'm sure. Instead of blowing up, Shizune takes a few deep breaths, adjusts her glasses, and slams the door shut, turning to sign furiously at Misha. Maybe she did blow up, but I can't understand it. She shoots a very loaded stare at me too, as if it was somehow my fault that Rin is sleeping on one of the tables. Well, you could have stopped her, so I'm just saying. I'm not taking sides with her at all, honestly, no. Or her. Oh, okay. I need to stop just doing things. Okay. Yep. I hope she's not getting any funny ideas about the reason of my tardiness. Yes. On the table with Rin in the art room. Hello. I can just imagine Rin just face up against the door. Rin's voice comes from the other side of the door, and it takes a few eye blinks to realize she might have trouble opening it. Poor girl. I open the door to find Rin directly behind it, looking at us with half-interested, half-sleepy face. Aww, she's adorable. Hello. Miss Tezuka, what do you think you were doing? You absolutely are not permitted to use school property for such disgraceful activity. It sure is suddenly very crowded in here. I didn't know I was this popular. It's hard to say whether she's happy or unhappy about this turn of events. She doesn't look very happy, does she? Does she, Hisao? At any rate, she ignores Shizune Misha scolding, so they have no choice but to drop the issue. Shizune taps Misha's shoulder, points at Rin, and makes some quick signs. Popularity aside, please don't do that anymore. Anyway, how's your project going? Will it be done for the festival? Rin looks at them blankly, apparently at ease under the pressure Shizune's cold stare is putting on her. I keep wondering about that myself, too. And... we'll think about it harder. As Misha signs her reply to Shizune, her face turns into an unsatisfied frown. Miss Tezuka, please try to take this seriously. It'll be a disaster if the wall looks like someone threw up their lunch onto it. Yep, that's great. Rin nods assertively. We'll think more seriously. I love you, Rin. Misha actually giggles at that, but Shizune doesn't. Not even after translation. She just shakes her head, takes the materials from me, and takes off with Misha in tow. Rin frowns thoughtfully as she looks after the retreating student council duo. How rude. It's true, though. I must finish my project before the weekend. There will be dire consequences if I don't. Is this even a girl's voice? I don't even think I'm doing a girl's voice right now. Anyway. The end of the world. It's the end of the world as we know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. I feel fine. Anyway, like weekends usually are, but more dire. Much more dire. Maybe I'll postpone my nap to unforeseen future. Oh, bye. I'm about to ask what project she has and what are these apocalyptic consequences, but she walks back into the art classroom. Since you have nothing to do, would you give me a hand? This paint doesn't fit into my bag, but I need it. She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table. Why am I still doing her voice during the inner monologue? She kicks lightly at a huge can of paint that's lying on the floor next to the table she was sitting and sleeping on. It lets out a dull clang. Being the gentleman I am, I naturally pick it up. How would she use a bag? Even if she has her feet, would that mean that she would have to hop around on one foot, or would she put it around her neck, or would she use her teeth, or... Anyway, I'm thinking too hard. Heavy. Yeah, sure, where do you need to take it? Away. And with that, she takes off to the hallway, me and the paint can following, since there's little choice for either of us. The hallway is quiet and empty now with Shizune and Misha gone, so we too leave towards the stairwell at the other end. Every 10 or 15 or 20 steps, I have to change the can from one hand to the other because the thin handle cuts into my palm. At least it keeps my arms from tiring too fast. Rin strolls on beside me with an uneven pace that I have trouble matching. Maybe I'm walking weird because of the extra weight. It seems one of us is constantly walking too slow or too fast, and I can't figure out which. 2 flights of stairs below, trouble appears in the form of the head nurse and his fox-like grin. Ah, Mr. Nakai, what a happy coincidence. Tezuka too, of course. What was his voice? Guys, I can't remember. It's been months. I can't remember his voice. He nods courteously to Rin, who does not acknowledge him back, then turns to me because obviously it's me who he has some business with. There's something I forgot to mention Monday. I nod and wait impassively because I can't even begin to guess what he forgot. The feeling of the handle delving deeper into my skin doesn't make me feel enthusiastic about this interruption either. Why don't you put it down? You aren't walking. Put it down. You are not smart, Misha. It's about your medications. Since you haven't been that long on your current medications, there might be some unexpected side effects, which might require adjusting dosages, or even changing to another kind of medication. So we would do a few tests regularly, but what I'd want is for you to keep an eye on everything in your condition that feels off, if you get what I mean. Nausea, headache, anything, and come see me if something happens. Alright. So how are you? Everything fine? I give up and drop the can to the floor before answering him. Apparently this takes longer than my biceps can handle. I'm about to say something generic as an answer, but then I realize how often I've done that lately. Other people have asked me that too, teachers and students here, my parents, visitors, nurses, doctors at the hospital. Everyone seems to be concerned about that. It's natural for a hospital, not so much for a school. Except this school. This is a small school, and both the student base and the faculty seems to be very tightly I didn't say that. I said tightly knit. What are you guys talking about? I didn't say anything. At least that's the feeling I'm getting. And this is not the kind of school that gets transfer students too often. The thought sends shivers up my spine, but I give a generic answer anyway. You didn't even say anything. That's great. Also, one other thing. My sources tell me that you've been at neither the school track nor even the pool, so I'd like to know if you're taking up exercising as I asked. Of course I haven't, but his way of inquiring gives me the feeling that I should have been running my ass off on the track since the very first day. You have people spying on me? That is such. I just happen to know a few people. But that's not the issue here, so don't try to slip out of it. Well, I was actually doing some improvised weightlifting as an exercise. pick up the lift can up and down a few times like some sad imitation of a bodybuilder, even though it's weighing down on my arms painfully. The stupid grin disappears from his face for a second, and then comes back like it was never gone. Oh, he doesn't laugh at my jokes, but his stupid jokes are fine. Whatever, nurse. Tezuka, would you give us a second? The nurse grabs me by the shoulder, without waiting for Ren's permission, which he didn't need in the first place, and drags me aside. When I told you to exercise, I wasn't joking. I understand that you are still on your first week and all, but please don't ignore the importance of this. The reason I'm coming down this hard on you is because that habits are not easy to form. The more you slip and postpone, the harder it'll be. It's the same with everything, like dieting. Can you promise me to be more serious about this from now on? Maybe. Maybe. No, I mean, it gives me a nasty sort of look when I say that, making me try to take back the word. I mean, I don't know. I'm still trying to get used to the school. I'll promise to try, though. You're not being very convincing there, Hisao. Tip number 1, medical professionals are not amused if you take their advice lightly. What's up with him? As if a day or two would make that much of a difference. I didn't do anything at the hospital either. Yeah, okay, sorry. He studies me for a moment and then shrugs, smiling again. Okay, that's more like it. If you go to the school track tomorrow morning, you'll meet my spy, best girl, who probably has no qualms offering consultation to you if you want to jog a bit. Consultation? See you around. Why was he blushing? He leaves with a wave of his hand and no answer, and I walk to Rin, who has been waiting idly, leaning against the hallway wall and staring at the pale lighting fixtures in the ceiling. Even when I approach, she doesn't move her eyes off of them. Are you getting medications for your heart thingy? Are you listening? Comes out more accusatory than I intended, accidentally lashing out at her. But even so, I don't really want to start talking about it. I just met her. I don't know her. It's not her business. The nurse seems to be happily ignorant about confidentiality, too. Talking about that kind of thing in public. That's not Rin's fault, is it? I look at her, suddenly feeling a bit guilty, but Rin is just staring past my shoulder quizzically, her head tilted like a bird's. Is Misha behind me? Oh dear God, please no. I don't know why this is so hard for me. It feels like there's some inexplicable lock that prevents me from being more upfront about this. Yeah, they're from my heart. Will they make you feel better? No, not really. They just make me a little less worse. Ren keeps looking at me for a while longer, and she neither says anything further, nor displays any kind of emotion I could discern. Man, I thought she was kinda sorta being a little bit concerned there, but I guess not. I'm thankful that she doesn't. I think I'm still not quite used to all this. At the hospital it was easy, but I still haven't sorted my feelings about having to live a normal life with this disability. We leave the main building, and Rin leads us onwards towards the dorm. We stop at the small patch of greenery in front of the dorm building. The dorm is built on slightly elevated ground, with a wall and a few trees that everyone has to circle around every time they come or go. It's probably the only inconvenient design in the school. The entire wall, made of the same kind of bricks as the building itself, has been covered with some sort of painting. Most of it is still mere sketches, quick lines drawn with black and white against the gray plastering that covers almost the entire length of the wall, but some places look a bit more finished. There are human faces and legs and hands. I can't quite say what the painting as a whole might portray. That is weird. That is also weird. That looks like a guy from Battle Block Theater. I don't know what that is. Stacks of what seem to be paint cans are arranged in piles on the ground beside the wall. See? The left side is hardly off the ground yet. It's because I couldn't get in the mood yesterday, so I gave up and went to meditate instead. Then it was suddenly morning. I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces. But I have to work on it, but the guys from art class are helping with the negative spaces and base surfaces whenever, which is a problem. How's that a problem? It's easier to paint big areas if there are lots of people with hands. The reach is better, and it's faster too. She goes on a tangent, waving a little with her arm or whatever of it there actually is, to demonstrate, though I got the point already. The white cotton of her sleeve flaps around and makes me think it could look sadder than it does. But it makes me feel out of place. Like almost every tangible reminder of the student base's special properties has in the past few days. This girl doesn't notice my dreary feeling, of course, or the fact that she lost me a while ago already, and just keeps on blabbering. So that's why I'm trying to figure out if there's something I need to figure out, and then figure out that before it's too late and hope is lost. Why would the hope be lost? Because paint has to be painted, and then it has to dry, and then it has to be painted over with another kind of paint. Oh my god, the hope is lost. It takes time. She finally stops, apparently thinking she made some kind of statement that makes sense. I think it's best to start from the top. So this is your project. You did this? Yes. All of it? Yes. Nice, but I stumble with my words, suddenly feeling like I've walked straight into the minefield of political incorrectness. It's okay, you can say it. I probably won't get mad. I blush really hard. I don't really know what would be the right thing to say, if any. It feels that I'm way more sensitive than Rin is, though. This is really awkward. You have a knack of doing that, Asao, don't you? You just make every single conversation awkward. Like me. Yay, thumbs up. Don't you want to ask? How do you paint without hands? See, I'm an easy person to talk to, right? With my feet. I almost guessed that already, but isn't that hard to do? You're good at guessing. In your pants. Anyway, I don't think it is, but maybe I'm used to it by now. I can't get my mind around the fact that she could be an artist, but seeing how adept she was at using her feet to eat, I figure painting might not be a problem either. Neither of us has anything more to add to the subject. The afternoon light works pretty well. I was afraid it would look too flat, but it's not like that after all. I think it's actually pretty interesting. I wanted to see what it looks like in dim light. Do you think it's flat? Not really. Well, paintings tend to be flat. Not like that flat, flat. Like some people are. No substance. No meat where there should be some. Like this. No, shush. What am I doing? Never mind. Oh, I know if you go, okay, I get it. But I couldn't really tell. I'm not that good with art. I can't name many artists or artistic terms. So I don't really have anything to say. Rin shrugs her shoulders at that, saying so yourself, without saying it, and looks up at the sky as if trying to look for something up there. I didn't think I'd get any actual work done, but if you give me a hand with the paints, I can do a little before it's too dark. I wanted to get a halogen lamp like the ones they have at the sports track, but there aren't any. Rin sure is quick to recruit my help, as was Shizune. It really makes me feel that the festival is such a big project that every pair of hands is needed. Oh god, why did you say that? Why not? I'm not really sure if I can be of any help, though. It's just mixing some paints. You can do that, probably. Do you have motor control problems? Like, those people who have some? Man, that was deep, Rin. That was really deep. Cerebral palsy, maybe. Not that I know of. I get it. Heart thingy has nothing to do with that. Yes, heart thingy has nothing to do with that, Rin. She gives me a sly look for no reason. No, it doesn't. Let's do it then. Aw, she looks so happy. So she sits on an empty wooden box and very naturally picks up a wide brush between the toes of her bare right foot. I open a few of the cans and pour some of the contents into shallow bowls for mixing. The thick paints flow lazily from the can to the bowl, like syrup. I mix them, creating funny, hypnotic-looking swirl patterns that melt quickly into each other to form a new monotone hue. Rin sets to work, every now and then asking me for a hand with something or the other. Finding different brushes is easy enough, but mixing the paints to be the exact tone this girl is apparently seeing in her head is a frustrating ordeal. She wants precision down to the last milliliter before she is satisfied, but her instructions are obscure at best. Have you guys ever titrated in chemistry class? Holy crap, that is the most tedious thing. You have to be a millimeter exact. Otherwise, if you were one over, your entire experiment is completely effed. You have to start all over. This has nothing to do with this right now, but that's what we're doing in chemistry now. And it's boring. It's cool, but it's boring. It sucks. Anyway, add half a slice of green. I crouched down to pick up the can of bright green. The other green, this green. I carefully pour some of the other green paint into the mixing bowl. No, that's almost a whole splash. More white. Is green a good color to add? No idea. You're the artist here. A hint of a smile appears on the corner of her mouth. You're damn right, Hisao.